Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's episode of Majin Starcraft between StarWEmpty and FancyMvP. Terran vs Zerg, Shakuras Plateau. Let's get it on! So first of all, I do not know if this StarWEmpty is actually Star Wars, because I don't know if somehow maybe LucasArts got on his back of you can't use our nickname, it's under trademark, blah blah blah, it's our movies, you're getting free promotion. It's just a nickname. Anyway, hopefully that didn't happen. But since we can't be sure if he's Star Wars or just some guy called StarWEmpty, and knowing my luck he's probably somebody big, we're gonna call him Star and Fancy. So Star versus Fancy, Fancy Star, yeah, gonna happen right now. What should be noted is that I hope that LucasArts actually didn't attack Star Wars because of his name, because if that's so, I'm pretty sure that Fun Animation and Toy Animation are actually gonna rant about me using Majin Trunks. Luckily, Majin Trunks is actually not a character in Dragon Ball Z, because Trunks never got to Majin, and therefore I'm boring you with unimportant essences about my nickname while we should be concentrating on the game, right? Yeah, let's forget the whole story and stick to StarWEmpty's barracks. So nothing as of yet for Fancy, so that means that he will probably lay down a hatchery right here, and there it is. Fast expand for Zerg. Wall off right here means obviously that Star will go for his expansion pretty soon as well. So economical play from both players. What does this mean? Let's think. Economical play from both players means that Fancy, Star is actually opting to go for very expensive units, not in minerals. A Terran can pretty much pump out a lot of units off of one base, risking mining himself out, but he can pump out a lot of mineral-based units. Gas, not so much. The mules efficiently mine minerals, however, gas not so much. So he's probably taking a second base to secure even gas, more gas, and more minerals. So Star is going for the late game. Clearly, that's his tactic. However, Fancy, a fast expand for a Zerg, in my experience, not necessarily my play experience, but my casting experience as well, shows that the Zerg is not necessarily going for that. I mean, this opening is very well known for being used by Hydra. I've seen Hydra open with this a lot of times, and automatically he goes into mutaling, and the game finishes about around the 25-minute mark, around there. But I don't know, I can't say. Hydra usually finishes that because he faces opponents that actually do go for the early harass, that do go to try and attack him. Hydra manages to fend that off, and then his opponents don't have any kind of defenses against a big mutaling army, and mutalings are so powerful. But that's not the situation. Right now, StarWEmpty is actually going for his own economical play. So we'll see if this game actually drags out into the very late game instead of finishing early or in the medium part. Now, what I say, early games are, if you haven't realized it, rush games. Games that finish, I don't know, 10-15 minute mark, that just usually finish by the first or second attack. Mid games are something when two big armies fight off against each other and one wins, and then that army completely dominates the base. That is a mid game finishing. Now the late game is probably my favorite, because right now Star is just running across the map, hunting Zerglings and securing the Zonaga Tower. The late game is the best for me, because it really provides a great entertainment. When the two players actually have those mass armies in the mid game, they don't necessarily go full head on one another and see who's gonna get the victory. Especially Zerg. Zerg will never go a 200 army against a 200 army Terran. Why? They'll lose. Terran positioning with tanks will pretty much secure a nice win if there's 200 supply of use. And right now StarW has his third racks, complete barracks wall in, second command center into an orbital command, and there we have a starport and a factory. So Starport Factory means that he will be going for, strangely enough, Marine Marauders, because there's a reactor probably gonna see the switch, and here comes a couple of links gonna try and run in here. No such luck. I mean, there may be a couple of links, quite a significant amount of links here, but they will not get through this, and there are Marines to shoot, and bringing up one SCV for repair will keep the base safe. What Fancy needs to do now is sacrifice the Overlord. He needs to come in here, see what's going on. Gonna probably see the transition between these two soon, and yep, there it is. Marine Marauders. So far, strangely enough, no Marauders. There's a nope, still pumping out a Marine. So more Marines. Stim is on the way, so gonna probably try and push out with a lot of Marines. I don't know how effective that is. Fancy securing an a third for his own, making sure that he stays on top of the Terran's economy, and securing a Baneling's nest. What does the Baneling nest mean? Oh, the lings will be transformed into Banelings, and the poor Marines are gonna get baptized in acid. Yep, that's what it's gonna mean. So it's actually a pretty hard counter against the Marines, because bringing lings or roaches against Marines with medevacs is fairly secure. However, you don't know exactly how much micromanagement will be involved. Banelings will just run in there and poof, as long as you use them correctly. So here comes the Marine attack with the medevac backup, and it's gonna be a drop, probably inside the main. Right now, if we look at the army tab, both players are the same amount of food. Units tab says 19 Marines, 2 medevacs versus 26 Zerglings. The Baneling nest is finally done, 30 Zerglings. Now the Zerglings are a bit, that is nice Overlord position by FancyMvP right now. He knows that the drop is coming, and as you can see, the Speedlings just running across the map, running, and are in a very nice position to secure a fighting chance. And here comes with 2 Marines getting dropped and 2 Marines getting picked apart. So no chance, 3 Marines actually, so no chance in hell of these Marines actually getting inside the base. Very nice, dropping a couple here for the protection, and here comes the fight. Will they? Yeah, the Marines getting picked up again. This is actually great play, because he has these Marines on the high ground, backed up against the wall, and they can just get picked up instantly, while the low ground Marines, thanks to the vision, can shoot off more Zerglings. What is Fancy's response? Banelings. Banelings, of course. Banelings will simply run in there and explode. However, the problem is that the Marines can actually be picked up pretty fast. So now the medevacs are just dropping and healing, and the Zerglings aren't doing that much. Running, doing a lot of damage, and picking them up. Oh, I think one Marine died there. Yes, one Marine actually died there. But right now, Fancy's sacrificing a lot of units. Units lost tab clearly favoring StarW. So here come a couple of Banelings. Damn, spoosh, acid bath right there. And Mutas are already here. As you can see, the expansion build for Fancy was actually that Ling Muta. We'll see if StarW has the response. His response to the Mutas are Thors. So let's see. We do have a couple of Vikings, but Vikings, decent against Mutas, not the best. A lot of Mutas means a lot of glaive. So glaive worm will actually jump between the Vikings and just do a significant amount of damage, and we'll see exactly who wins this encounter. We have a couple of missile turrets going down, very nice indeed. Vehicles level 1 and infantry weapons level 2. Marines, no Marauders as of yet, so upgrades for Marines, shields and stim, bringing out a couple of Vikings. Vikings will not heal them, and now the Marines are moving on this side for one reason only: fear of Mutas. Or actually, are they going to try and secure this? The problem is, if we look at the income, both players similar income. Fancy is ahead because he is on 3 base, not securing the gas. Now he's actually securing the gas on his 3rd, and once that happens, that will be actually pretty huge. So here we go. Mutas, Marines. Marines, hard counter to Mutas. All these Marines will be able to fight off the Mutas, especially with the Thor backup. So here we go, but there is no medevacs here, so there's no possibility. Cancel that before he gets sniped. Cancel that, 49 health. One volley of those and that would have been destroyed. And 400 resources, poof, down the drain. So units lost tab still clearly favoring StarW. And now StarW has the Thor. How come nobody has Collector's Edition? Really? Really? But then again, I have Collector's Edition and I'm in bronze. Whoop-de-doo. The reason I'm in bronze is because I haven't really played. I played a couple of matches, but I haven't played. I mean, just haven't played. I have 20 matches under my belt. I play a lot of custom games, I play with my friends, and mostly StarCraft has become a spectator sport. Hey, I'm a coach, not necessarily a good player, and a coach is not always a good player. And a good coach is not necessarily a good player. Muta's breaking down the rocks, gonna probably try and run in here. This is a nice position, actually, a nice position for 4-star to secure, because it's easily defended. It's see, you can have a direct path running from here to the expansion, just this one clean hallway. Will we have an encounter here? A lot of Mutas, a lot of Banelings, and a lot of Zerglings. Here we go. Tanks are here, tanks sieging up, and here come the Mutas trying to use the magic box trick, and very nice Banelings running in there, exploding all the Marines, and Mutas taking out the Thor. So yeah, this expansion is gonna get taken out. Here comes one lonely medevac, has nothing to heal. Mutas doing all the damage. Still can't believe that they haven't fixed the goddamn magic box trick, because it's not a clever use of game mechanics when the Thor was designed as anti-air. Thor? Let's see. Thor's hammer, 33 damage. Javelin missiles versus light, they do 14. What do you think Mutas are? Light. These were designed as anti-Muta, and now they are useless against Mutas. If you have, I don't know, mass Thors, they will beat mass Mutas, but not efficiently. Not efficiently. Couple of mules being laid down in there to get the repair. I gotta love this. Mules repairing. If you don't know the mules repair, they do. So units lost tab finally getting about the same, still ahead for StarW, but he did lose a big chunk of Marine army there, and a Thor, and Vikings, and a couple of tanks, so he did lose quite completely. As I was saying, this is a nice clean hallway for StarWEmpty, and it's good for him that he was on the same number of base as the Zerg, but the Zerg has secured his 4th, and probably will try to secure his 5th, because if he secures this one, he will be able to continuously lay pressure on the Terran here. Terran is playing defensive at this point, so StarW compared to Fancy is currently very defensive. Corrupt. No, I was gonna say Corruptors. No, ground car pass level 3. No Hive as of yet. And an Infestor pit. So Infestors, a couple of Infestors. Are there any Infestors on the map? No. So either Infestors have been secured, or either that Infestor pit has been made for Infestors, or just for tech. And we might actually see what I was talking about. Hive. I want to see Hive. Income clearly favoring actually StarW at the moment. Same number of harvesters, only with mules. Yeah, there is a missile turret. Wow, this is ballsy. This is ballsy and very nice. Actually, making sure that Fancy didn't notice that, and gonna run out of here. Here come the tanks shooting up Banelings stuck behind the Zerglings, and gonna lose all these tanks sadly. But actually, the Marine army was saved, only losing one. Nope, 2 tanks. There we go. Still chasing with Banelings. And will this Thor die? Will this Thor die? Here comes the magic box. No, magic box moves away because the Marines are coming in from behind. But the Thor will take out an Overlord. Boof! Right in the Overlord's face. So that was a very ballsy and lucky move by StarW, coming in, securing a missile turret, and actually taking out a couple of Zerglings before Fancy knew what was up, before Fancy actually had time to react. If we look at the APM, very nice APM from these players. So high top class game right here, with both players going back and forth. And here comes Muta. Muta deciding not a good idea to actually fight off against this fixed position. What should we do as Terran? What should we do as Zerg? Use the Muta movement as a great use the Muta movement advantage, coming in there, taking out a missile turret. One missile turret will not suffice, destroying the building SCVs, making sure that 2 more factories are not gonna come up. Also being able to scout these 2 factories is huge, because right now he knows that mass Thors will be an option, or a lot of siege tanks. So it's gonna affect his build. Infantry armor level 3 and infantry attack. Here's the expand and here's the fight. A lot of banelings baptizing those marines, coming in there, taking out a lot of tanks. 2 tanks left right now, 2 tanks, a lot of mutas left alive, only 2 marines, and the mutas will actually be able to pick off a lot of tanks coming in here. These tanks need to go back because they have nothing to do here. They're gonna just get picked off right now. A couple of marines still shooting, but even marines with stim, 5 marines with stim will not be able to fight off against this muta army, but they actually do. Fancy backing out. I do not necessarily feel that that was good. More marines would actually fought that back, would actually repel that, but in that position Fancy could have taken out not necessarily the base, but taken out a couple of harvesters after the missile turret and the marines were dead. So here we have the production tab says 20 Zerglings on the way, 3 mutas, 9 banelings. So we do, and ground carapace level 2. Still no. Oh, there's finally hive tech. We might see broodlords or ultralisks. 1 missile turret randomly placed here to try and slowly push out. So right now Star is actually opting to go for a very nice semicircle right here on the bottom of the map. Probably gonna even try and secure this expansion because it's very easy to have a clean run through to protect all your base compared to what let's say Fancy's position. But Fancy's still fighting here with a lot of mutas, taking out the marines with a couple of banelings and just destroying everything else. A lot of tanks falling, so StarW gonna lose another tank there. Units lost tab probably, nope. StarW still ahead, still strangely enough ahead. I suppose all those mutas that died earlier did cost quite a lot. Is Hive ready? And another expansion for FancyMvP, meaning that the income is still fairly similar. However, MVP Fancy is on 1-2 base, while StarW is oversaturating this one, and his expansion is almost mined out. As you can see there, StarW's economy booming over the Terrans. And here come the mutas to try and break through, but there are missile turrets here. There's not exactly a weak point right now in StarW's defensive. Missile turrets everywhere. Very nice positioning to try and keep the muta flock at bay. So now StarW is gonna try and move out. There's a command center, so as I said, trying to secure a nice semicircle in the bottom, secure the bottom map. Why? But this plan is not necessarily the best, because this allows Fancy to secure expansions all over the map. He may have his bases far more spread out, but creep speed and the fact that he's on more bases does allow him to lose more minerals and allows him to be much more aggressive. There we go, another big attack here, losing again a lot of tanks, and here comes a couple of banelings, losing again more and more tanks. Gonna lose these marines, I think. No, enough marines actually to fight off against the mutants, especially with a little bit of missile turret backup. Now the command center is done, and wow, very nice play by Fancy. What is Fancy doing? Creep tumors! A lot of creep tumors. Make sure that the creep tumors finish before the orbital command can land, and yep, they do, and there we go. No more expansion here. You cannot land. I'm sorry. Very nice. And now that means that Fancy does Star actually does need to come in here, scan, take out these, and then land, because these there we go. The command center cannot land. I'm sorry. 2 marines to try and destroy the creep tumors, but there's 4 of them, and a lot of Zerglings. Here come the Zerglings, but running into the other marine army. So StarW is in a bad position right now. A good way and a good position for him to expand at this point would be here, because securing a couple of missile turrets would just increase a small blob right here. See, increase the small blob in the bottom right corner, make it a little bit big, put a couple of missile turrets. The problem is this base could not be defended by any ground units, which is what StarW has right now. A lot of ground units. He has a lot of marines, he has thors, he has tanks, and that is what he's building. There's a scan, and here come more Zerglings and banelings running away from the banelings. Run, tank and spank. Here's the Thor to fight off the mutas. Mutas actually taking a lot of damage, but the Thor dies instantly because these are a lot of mutas. 2 queens here, tanks still shelling. The poor command center is just waiting to be laid way down. Please let me get down there. And there's a nice scan to take out a lot of creep tumors. However, this lonely creep tumor will keep the creep from receding enough for the orbital command to land. As you can see, the creep is not receding that fast because of one creep tumor receding up here and receding a little bit here, but no here, not here. One last creep tumor. Still more banelings, more zerglings, and that big marine army has been reduced to rubble. Units wise, 44 marines, 25 zerglings, 20 banelings, 8 mutas. Still, the production tab says we have hide, and what is he building? An ultra cavern. Very, very good choice at this point, because ultras are oh so good against marines. We'll slice them and dice them and cut them up and eat them for breakfast. Marines are the Captain Crunch of ultras. I mean, literally. A marine gets picked up by an ultra, tossed in its mouth, and then it goes snap, crackle, and dead. So now we have a lot of transitioning drones on the upper base for Fancy. Fancy actually securing minimal defenses on these very distant bases, because he knows that because he's applying a lot of pressure here, he's not allowing Star to be aggressive on his own expansion. So Fancy is very safe in expanding here. He still has this one. He's actually expanding here, so securing a lot of expansions. This expansion actually dying from tanks and Star W's complete relentlessness and slowly moving across the map. If you will, he's leapfrogging right now, just bonk, bonk, moving across the map just little by little. He was here and secured his expansion, very nice space, and he jumped to this position, jumped to this position, probably try to jump to this position soon. The problem is that soon he will find himself in the behind when it comes to minerals. He is still ahead in the mineral loss count. However, Fancy has completely mined out his expansion. His main almost mined out this one, securing one base here, one base here, one base here. So Fancy will still be on 3 base, while Star W is completely mined out this one. So Star W has always been on about a base and a half, maybe 2. Right now he's on a base and a half because this one is completely mined out, and all these SCVs will need to be moved somewhere soon, and these guys are probably exactly what they're doing, trying to secure the last remnants of this expansion. But there is one last creep tumor here which will delay that just inevitably. And here we have ultras, 5 ground carapace, 3 level 3 weapons, and here they come running in there, tanks just shelling them. And will one ultra fall? There's the scan spotting everything. More ultras on the way. Production tab says one more ultra on the way. I would have loved broodlings at this point. Ultras, the problem with ultras at this point is that they need to run in there and cut everything to pieces, and these are a lot of tanks to shoot down the ultras. And tanks do how much? Oh yeah, 60 damage versus armored. And guess what ultras are? Armored. So all these tanks are actually gonna shield the ultras to hell. While broodlords, on the other hand, oh, broodlords can shoot the broodlings from a huge distance, not allowing the marines to get close enough for the kill, while you keep the ground army safe, or while you keep the broodlords in a safe distance with lings and banelings, and they can shoot broodlings very close, making the tanks shoot their own weapons. However, just plowing through that Terran army. However, we do still have a couple of tanks shooting everything, so losing the down position, but the up position is still very safe and secure. And there we go, Star W is on 1 base again. Income clearly very Fancy. However, the fact that he's on 3 bases at the moment does mean that he can afford this mineral difference. It's gonna come down to the line. There are 2 more bases right here, and that haven't been mined at all, and probably these are what Star should be focusing on at this point in the game. He needs to secure these bases while still macroing up his army, because if he doesn't, he's gonna lose. So much creep on the map, and yet the main isn't connected to the natural. It's just funny. A lot of creep tumors. Look at this creep development actually uniting these expansions on the other side of the map. So right now, full map control I have to give to FancyMvP. Star W is very safe in his position right here. What Fancy could do is split up his army, take a couple of very effective units, and try to plow through the main gate, because it's not necessarily that heavily defended. Drop right here of 2 ultras, if it actually manages to drop the ultras in time, could do a lot of damage. I have to say right now, both players are actually in my position. What the hell do we do now? Welcome to the late game, ladies and gentlemen. What the hell do you do now? Food wise, 200 for Star, 170 for Fancy. So strangely enough, Fancy is behind. Same number of harvesters, however, guess who has the income advantage? The guy who's on 3 baits, obviously. So here comes a little bit of an encounter, will it? Nope, nope, nope. There we go. Backing out. It's gonna be very close. Running in a couple of Zerglings, trying to do damage to the Marines via the tanks. So sacrificing a couple of Zerglings. And now, just both players very cautious about who's gonna engage. Both armies are really strong. Ooh, I suppose Fancy is in a better position to do the following. 300 supply push. Here comes a couple of overloads. Why is he running in there? I have no idea. No idea. And there is my suggestion. Broodlords, 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 Broodlords. Corruptors being brought in. More Broodlords. So what do these mean? The Broodlords have a overpowered range, to say the least, and they can just simply shoot down on the Marines, and as long as the Zerglings and Ultras keep the Broodlords safe, the tanks will just shoot the Broodlings and take out the Marines as well. One Ultra dying there, sadly, and here comes another. Again, oh, one Broodlord gonna fall. No, 2 HP on that one, but all the Marines are actually dead or inside the main. And very nice, there is a missile turret here to defend the tanks against the Muta attack, but there we go, there's the extended range of the Broodlord. This Broodlord finally gonna fall, but one tank has fallen. But right now it's strange because StarW is doing great in positioning. He's using Terran positioning, he's using Terran defensive capabilities, securing one point of the map, just securing it like crazy and not letting go. He's actually managed to be pushed back a little, but at what cost? Units lost tab. Yeah, that much. Viking to deal with the Broodlords, but one Viking not gonna be enough. And finally securing this expansion, but there aren't that many minerals, and this expansion is... How many are all the harvesters here? Honestly, all the how many harvesters are on the map? Oh yeah, all the 63 harvesters there moving out to the expansion. Very nice, but this will be mined out very fast. But right now Star is doing what he needs to do, create a big difference in the units lost tab, making, and there's gonna try and run it, but Zergling's not the best of choice to try and break this down because there is a tank here. Repairing this should be easy, and Zerglings die pretty fast on tanks. And here nope. Again, Star opting to go for the very slow Terran push. Slow and steady. Bring out your tanks, lay them down, move a little forward. Bring out your tanks, lay them down, move a little forward. And right now, if we look at the food count, again, Star is on 200 supply, well, 191, while strangely enough, Fancy is not. Again, bringing out a couple of Corruptors, and Muta still going for the Broodlords, trying to run in there. There's one lonely queen caught out of position, getting nuked to hell, and FancyMvP just saying something and just knows it's something in Korean, which probably means this game was weird, long ass game, great play by the defense, by you being defensive, and now this Fancy has nothing to call to fight this. I have no idea what Fancy actually said there. There's something Korean. If anybody knows how to translate this, feel free to translate this. The game is over at this point. Look at the production tab. 200 supply for Star Wars. Star is just pushing in with Marines and Vikings, and while his main tank army is here secure, bringing out probably a lot of Marines on this position to fight off. And here comes Fancy's answer. Gonna take out the Marines, but not that much. And there we go. Fancy calls a GG. It's over. He knows it, and it was a GG. I don't know what he said. Great game. It wasn't necessarily the most entertaining game in terms of, oh my god, battle cruisers, but it was a long game, and it proved the worth of Terran turtling. So Star just turtled the hell out of Fancy, creating a huge, almost double in the resources difference in the units lost tab. Almost double resources lost for Fancy. And despite the fact that he was on multiple base, he actually had no answer to this. What could have been an answer at this point? I don't know. To beat a Terran turtle with a Zerg is hard. More Brood Lords, a lot of Lings, and maybe Infestors. Maybe Infestors and Burrow. Bringing out Infestors and Burrow would have, I don't know, bringing a couple of Infestors, popping them out on, let's say, popping them out in a nice position, and then mind controlling tanks to shield, to take them out, or fungal growth to stop the Marines for being so maneuverable. Just, I have no idea. Star just played his heart out in this game. So thank you guys for watching this extremely long game. See you next time.